Hello, my name's Cara and I'm a potter from Somerset in the UK. Welcome to my channel. If you think of trips to places famous for pottery, you might think of Japan, Korea, even Spain. But the UK has a thriving pottery industry right at its centre. Earlier in the spring, Tom, that's my husband, and I packed our VW campervan Lola and set off for an adventure to the city synonymous with pottery, Stoke-on-Trent. Despite Stoke being centre of the potteries for centuries, and me being a full-time potter for the past 10 years, I have never actually been, until now. This video shares with you just some of the highlights of Stoke and some tips if you ever want to plan a trip for yourself. Our first stop was the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery, a fantastic building packed with several floors of extensive exhibitions. We couldn't come to Staffordshire without catching a glimpse of the Staffordshire Hoard. If you haven't heard of the Staffordshire Hoard, it is the largest collection of Anglo-Saxon gold and silver metalwork ever found, comprising of over 4,000 items discovered by a metal detectorist in 2009, who dug it up in a field near Lichfield, Staffordshire. Archaeologists believe the hoard was buried during the 7th century, that's 600 to 699 AD, at a time when the region was part of the Kingdom of Mercia. At the museum, you can learn all about the pottery greats: Josiah Wedgwood, Thomas Wheeldon, Clarice Cliff, Bernard Leach. Everyone and anyone who has ever been influential in British pottery across the last 600 years is represented here. And some people you might not have ever heard of. There were thousands of examples of pots from every century, the oldest being this one, called the Ephesus jar, proudly displayed in the entrance of the museum. This jar dates back to around 4000 BC. This was an earthenware jar used for storage. There's also a full-size Spitfire in the basement, as Stoke-on-Trent is where its designer, Reginald Mitchell, was born and raised. When we were there, the museum was more or less empty. We had the collections all to ourselves. And the best bit, it's completely free to visit. Stoke itself is actually made up of many different villages or boroughs, which all sprouted up around the individual pottery factories. Stoke was a great place for the pottery industry to evolve. It had coal in abundance, and this ran the kilns. Clay was mined in Cornwall and shipped up to Liverpool. It was then brought by horse-drawn barge via canal to Stoke. Our next stop was Gladstone Pottery. You might recognise it as the location where they've been filming the Great Pottery Throwdown. The pottery factory first opened on the site in 1787. It was run by the Shelley family, who produced earthenware and decorated plates and dishes designed by Josiah Wedgwood. You can explore the bottle kilns, the engine house, the slip room, and the saga making workshops, amongst loads more exhibitions. It shows all aspects of working with clay, including hands-on displays of throwing, moulding and decorating. You can find out what life was really like as a pottery factory worker in Victorian Britain. The conditions were pretty tough. The work was hard and often dangerous. The hours were long, but the potteries offered a steady wage, and it was better than the workhouse. Women were paid way less than the men, and children workers were commonplace. One of the main features of Gladstone is their 4 bottle kilns. Back in Stoke's heyday, there were over 2,000 of these bottle kilns, just in the Stoke-on-Trent area. Now only 50 of these remain. Unfortunately, these kilns were not only dangerous to operate, they were highly inefficient. 75 to 80% of the heat generated during a firing was lost. In 1956, the Clean Air Act was brought in by the UK government to try and combat the pollution and subsequent ill health caused by the smoke from the kilns. This was the nail in the coffin for most of these bottle kilns, and forced all of the potteries to either upgrade to cleaner electricity or gas kilns, or close down entirely. These bottle kilns are now under a preservation order, which ensure the heritage of this time in Stoke's history is not lost. Whilst you're at Gladstone, you can have a flower making lesson from the lovely Rita. Absolutely fascinating. So what's your name?
Rita.
Hello Rita.
Hi.
Cara.
Oh, hi,
nice
Cara.
to meet you.
Good night and you. Lovely name, Cara.
Thank you.
I've done this since I was 15.
Have you?
Because there was so many jobs when I left school doing this.
Gosh.
So is each layer of petals slightly different? You're doing something?
Yeah, these are slightly smaller, and I pinched them back twice, where the middle ones, you just touch it back once.
Right, yeah.
And somehow it works, it just looks right.
It really does, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's just
It
like
really
it's
does.
instant
That's
flower.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's,
Absolutely
it didn't look like it was going to be
incredible.
anything when you
No,
were just putting those little
no.
bits on there.
Literally a flower in a minute. Wow. Gosh. You can take home your flower as a memento of your day. If you are enjoying this video, check out my Patreon Pottery Club. There are over 100 projects, tutorials, tips, tricks, and recommendations. I'm also over there helping potters just like you with all your pottery dilemmas. Just think of me as your pottery agony aunt. No question is a silly question. Hope to see you there. We stayed on a campsite 10 minutes outside of the city, in a lovely little village called Mow Cop. It has beautiful views of the Staffordshire Hills and of the city of Stoke below. There's a welcoming pub called the Mow Cop Inn, which does great home-cooked food, and I highly recommend it. The next day, we went to Middleport Pottery. This is very much still a thriving working pottery. It's now the location where the world-famous Burleigh pottery is created, used by the British royal family, no less. You might recognise Middleport from a certain hit TV series featuring the Shelby family. Yes, that's right, some of Peaky Blinders was filmed here. The Great Pottery Throwdown was also originally filmed here, but had to relocate to Gladstone due to COVID in 2020. I recommend you try and do a tour if you can. The infographics around are great, but there's nothing like having a real person tell you the stories of the people who have worked and still work here. All the tour guides are volunteers. They are passionate about Stoke and the rich history it holds. There are also certain areas of the factory you are only allowed to go if you are accompanied by a tour guide. You can get to see real-life potters of the modern Stoke-on-Trent in action. It was at Middleport Cafe that we discovered oatcakes. These are kind of like a savoury pancake. We have oatcakes down south, but they're more like a dry biscuit, and these are totally different and absolutely delicious. The cafe has beautiful views of the canal. If you like this video, please take a moment to drop it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more pottery related goodness. And now, unfortunately, it was time for us to go home. We only scratched the surface of Stoke. There were so many other factories and historical sites we didn't have time for on this trip, such as Emma Bridgewater, the Spode factory, Port Merion, the World of Wedgwood, amongst many, many more. If you're a potter, Stoke-on-Trent really is a must-see. Even if you're not, it's such a great place to absorb some history, have some great food, and a warm welcome. So when you're next in need of a culture fix, skip the London queues and visit Stoke-on-Trent. Thank you so much, Stoke. We will be back. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to pop this video a like. See you again soon. Bye.